Okay, so now we have the parts numbered. We need a list of parts. We create that from the tables here. Bill of materials. You can access this from insert, tables, bill of materials as well. That's why it's called the BOM tables, bill of materials. And this is how it works. You select, since on a technical drawing paper you can have multiple assemblies inserted, you have to select the view from which to get the assembly from. So I'll select this view, for example, it gets those parts. I'm going to create a new table using the standard BOM templates, which we can create our own. There are 3 BOM types. Top level, parts only and indented. Top level, since you can have multiple sub-assemblies, under assemblies, and more under those sub-assemblies, etc. You can only get the top level inserted components of the assembly that you are clicking on to list. So when I click here, it will only list the uppermost assemblies and the uppermost parts that are available in that main assembly tree. If you say parts only, it will list all the parts. If you say indented, it's going to list the parts according to their the assemblies they are under, by giving detailed numbering or flat numbering, by indentation. So in this case we don't have any sub-assemblies, so it's not going to work. So any top level and parts only is going to give the same result. And if you have different configurations of the assembly, you can select it from here. Default is selected. And as for the parts might have different configurations in itself. So you can select how to treat the configurations of the parts. You can still display the configurations of the same parts as separate items each. You can display all configurations for the same part as just one item, so it doesn't consider any configurations. It will use the same part number for that same part. Or if the parts, different parts might have different configuration names, same configuration names. So for the same exact same configuration name, those parts are going to be grouped as a single part. In this case, it's just a simple assembly, so I'll just keep it here. And they're going to be displayed as one item number. You can change the starting number. This might be important for sub-assemblies. Usually we give an increment of 1. Sometimes it's important not to be able to change the item numbers. So I'm not going to go into that. And I'll not deal with the missing items for now. So I'm skipping that. So creating a new table and say OK. And usually we place this table here attached to the right lower corner, or you can attach it here to the lower right corner right now. Here, as you can see, let me drag it like this, or like this, which I cannot do, but attach it right here. Usually this is the best position. So click, and there you go. Now what we can do with this, first I'm going to drag it, remove it. I'll attach it later on. You can change size of the columns. We prefer that the row lengths, oops, what did I do? the row lengths, the row heights are equal. So what I prefer you to do is to drag it, expand the columns and squeeze the rows, and squeeze it as much as you can and leave it like that. And maybe you want a double row for the header. Anyway, what we usually prefer to see the quantity. That's why does it say default here? I don't know. So the quantity, I click on D and click and move it to here. Usually we want to see the quantity right next to the part number and item number. And we can add columns, and like this, right click and insert a column to the right. The column to the right, I can change what's going to be shown here. I'll select the custom property and select the property name, which some of which I have defined in the properties of the parts, and some of which are Solidworks default information. So let me add here the material, and if the material for Basecamp is defined as this name here, it's going to read that property name under the part and attach it here. As you can see, the follower material is not specified, so we're going to see why that's like that. Oops, there you go. Maybe I can get a double row for the that's better. Oh, I couldn't do it. Oh, that's because of this. I forgot. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So the principle is this: the parts must have these property names defined under them. So let's check on with the Basecamp. Let's see. I can open this Basecamp from here. Right here, right click and open parts. Now the properties for the part is given here, which you define yourself. The material is defined for the part, and it's written under the property name. So the material is defined already, but this definition is not written to the property name. This hajim as volume, and description, mass, etc. They are taken from the Solidworks properties. So let me create a new property, weight. But to define the weight, I don't have an equation to define weights yet, so none of these are working for me. I'll just select mass for now and say OK, and I'm going to go to equations, and I'll create a weight myself, weight calculation, and that will be the mass of the parts times 9.81, and say OK. Now I can get back to the properties and change this to weight calculations. Now I can see that weight calculation here and say OK, and save the parts and get back to my assembly. And now I can add another column insert to right. This time I can get weight, because now weight is one of the properties of Basecamp, and it's reading it from there. But the others, they don't have it. It's kind of, let me from this. Okay, I'll drag these. There you go. So I'll do the same thing for follower. So let me open the follower part. It doesn't have a material right here. If you don't see this, you may not. You can hide it. So you go to from view, no, not view, edit. You go down to appearance and say material, and select the material for